Om Shri Sai Ram. Chapter 13. On Thursday, the 29th of December 2010, Swami had come to give darshan, and Ma was sitting at his lotus feet. He looked at her for a moment and then asked, "My child, will you be able to stay without food for a period of 72 days? He explained to her that she would be permitted to have only liquids, milk, tea and juice for that period. Then he asked her if she would do it. Ma said to me, "Whenever Swami tells me to do something, I never think of anything. It is his prasadam. I accept it with gratitude. I don't think of the consequences or how I will do it, because Swami has said, so he will see to everything." Swami told her that she would not be allowed to have any cereal, any solids or even semi-solids. He said that she would be permitted salt and sugar. Ma said, "Okay, Swami." During that time, Swami blessed her with darshan after every 4 or 5 days. Sometimes he came after a week. Whenever he came, he materialized vibhuti and with his own hands put it in her mouth. She did not know the reason or the purpose behind what Swami had asked her to do, but she did not ask. She suffered intensely from hunger. Her body cried for food and she had a lot of pain in her head, abdomen and chest. The days passed slowly. Ma lost weight rapidly. After 36 days, Swami told her to give up sugar. When 54 days were over, he said that she could have only tea and water. Then, towards the end, when only 9 days were left, he told her that she would be allowed only water for the rest of the days. Ma said, "Okay, Swami." She went through unbearable pain and suffering. The last day of the penance was Thursday, the 10th of March 2011. About 1 month before the completion of this period, Swami had revealed to her the reason behind what he had asked her to do, but had told her not to tell anyone yet. On the last day, Swami showered his blessings on her. He put his hand on her head and said, "Thank you, my child. You have completed your mission. You never said no to anything I asked you to do. I was watching you daily." Then Swami, with immense love in his eyes and a sweet smile on his face, raised his hand to his forehead in a gesture of salute. Ma told me I lowered my head, for I had tears in my eyes. She says, "I feel very, very fortunate that Swami chose me to do his work. Everything is in his hands." The thought came to my mind that what he had asked me to do, he could have just willed it in a second. He can cure, he can heal, he can give life to anyone. Then what is the reason that he had given this work to me? I was trying to understand, but I did not ask him. He knows our innermost thoughts. One day when he had come to give darshan, Swami cleared my doubts. He made me sit down and patiently explained everything to me. Swami said that when some karma is done by a person, the consequences of which are not good, then that person will suffer from some problem. The nature and the intensity of the problem is dependent on the karma that was done. At times, God, due to reasons known only to Him, wills to heal that person or to change his destiny. Then the effect of this bad karma, which is the root cause of his problem, has to be balanced. It has to be, so to say, neutralized. For that, tapa has to be performed. Swami said that the tapa of being without food is the biggest tapa of all. The positive energy or the heat of that tapa burns away or neutralizes the negative energy of that bad karma. When that is accomplished, then that person is healed. Swami told me, but whose destiny has to be changed is decided only by God, as also to whom He will assign His work. So what His will is, what He thinks is right, how He wants to do something and whom He chooses for His work, only He knows. On the 73rd day, when Swami came in the morning, he materialized some vibhuti and one dry palm date and gave it to Ma. Swami had earlier told Ma why he had asked her to do this tapa and for whom. He had revealed to her that it was to heal a devotee who was suffering from cancer. Swami told Ma to go early that same morning and give the vibhuti and the palm date to this devotee. Swami said to Ma, "Tell her to have the vibhuti and the dry palm date. Put it in her mouth with your hands." Ma asked, "Is she fine now, Swami?" He said, "Yes, my sweet child." Ma said to me, "When he says my sweet child and with so much love, I am prepared to do anything just to listen to those words full of love. I wonder what I have done to get so much love from him. You cannot get so much bliss even in the love of the mother who has given birth to you. Swami's love is everything. I feel blessed that Swami chose me to do his work, and he gave me the strength to complete it. The devotee whom Swami chose to save is also greatly blessed." On Basant Panchami day, when Swami gave darshan to Ma, she said, "Swami, please bless my son's new house." Swami was sitting on his sofa. He extended his hand to take Ma's hand and then he stood up. Ma understood that Swami had got up to visit the house. She suddenly realized that the house would not be clean as the family had not moved in yet. Swami was not wearing slippers on his feet. She quickly ran to the adjoining storeroom where she keeps all the mandir provisions and got a pair of new slippers that she had kept for him. She made Swami wear them, and in a few seconds she found herself in the new house with him. Swami walked to every room in the house and blessed it. Then he came back to the mandir bringing Ma with him. She took Pada Namaskar and Swami left, still wearing the slippers. 1 week before Swami left his body, he returned these slippers to Ma. Ma's elder brother had offered a white-colored robe to Swami on the occasion of his daughter's marriage in the year 2009. He had prayed to Swami to take the robe with him and bless him by wearing it. He had thought that he would feel truly blessed if after wearing it, Swami would return the robe to him so that he could treasure it forever. On Mahashivratri day 2011, when he came to give darshan, Swami returned the robe. A few days later, her brother came to Lucknow to express his gratitude to Swami and took the robe back with him. When Swami blesses Ma with darshan, he looks divinely radiant with no sign of any physical ailment. He walks comfortably and at times seems to be floating lightly above the ground. He appeared very unwell. Ma says that though she had seen videos of Swami looking that way, she was taken aback and felt very saddened. One morning, in the second half of March 2011, Swami had come to give darshan to Ma. Suddenly, he coughed very hard, quickly reaching out for the handkerchief on the right arm of the sofa, but it had fallen down. Ma saw this, and in a flash she cupped her hands together before Swami's mouth to hold the phlegm that had suddenly come out. Then Swami took the handkerchief from the other side, wiped his mouth and placed it back on the sofa. Ma sat before Swami with the phlegm in her hands. After a few seconds, Swami stood up and walked away. She looked carefully at the phlegm. It was white in color. There was no blood in it. She washed her hands and came back to the mandir. Then she bent down to look for the missing handkerchief, picked it up and placed it carefully on the arm of the sofa. She also picked up the other handkerchief which Swami had used to wipe his mouth with. When she was folding it, she noticed that there was blood on it. She showed it to uncle, then washed that handkerchief and placed a fresh one on Swami's sofa. The next morning, again when Swami came to give darshan, he wiped his mouth with the handkerchief. When Swami left, Ma picked it up and checked. Ma says that she remembers clearly how Swami had looked at her that day. There was so much compassion on his face that she had tears in her eyes. But she says she did not realize then that Swami was giving an indication. Om Sai Ram.